Okay, so it's recording now. So let me brief it again. If you are watching this video, I am going to read. Let's update it first. How to update? I don't know how to update this. Properties. Yes. Chapter 2. We are reading chapter 2 of The Lord of the Mysteries. And why we are reading chapter 2? Because I have read the chapter 1 on live stream, which ended up horribly. I just want I just wanted to start something new, and I started it, and then I realized that my live stream is like 15 minutes behind me and it's buffering a lot, and I'm not getting the ideal internet connection that I wanted. So I thought just uh, end it there and read a few more chapters while recording, not live, and upload it, and will continue after I fix my internet connection, and then I will do all the chapters live. So without further ado, let's start reading chapter 2 because we have other things to do as well today. We have a shoot for a short film. It's more like a music video without my own music. I'm taking a pretty famous creator's music, but I want to explore my creativity in that aspect. But here we are to read, so let's start reading. Chapter 2. Situation. Tap, tap, tap. Zimbabwe reeled back in fear at the sight that greeted him. It was though the person in the dressing mirror was not himself, but a desiccated corpse. How could a person with such grievous wounds be still alive? He turned his head in disbelief again and checked the other side. Even though he was a distance away and the lighting was poor, he could still see the penetrating wound and dark red blood stains. This Jimungri drew a deep breath as he tried hard to calm himself. Again, I'm not that great at reading out loud. I'm fairly decent in reading my inner monologues, so please spare me that. Okay, just had to pause for a few seconds. My dog was knocking on the door, तो उसको फिर मैं बाहर छोड़ दिया क्योंकि अभी सुबह के 6 बज गए. यस, 6, 5:30, 6 के करीब हो रहा, तो मैंने छोड़ दिया उसको. अब बाहर जाके वो अपना जो भी काम वाम करेगा. Let's get back on reading. This Zumungiri drew a deep breath as he tried hard to calm himself. He reached out to press his left chest and sensed his racing heart that exuded, ex, exuded immense vitality. He then touched his exposed skin beneath the slight coldness was flowing warmth. When he squatted down and after verifying that his knees could bend, Zumhungri stood up again and calmed down. What's happening? He muttered with a frown. He planned to inspect his head injury seriously once more. He took 2 steps forward and suddenly paused. The moonlight of the sanguine moon was relatively dark. What the hell is a sanguine moon? So it was insufficient for his serious inspections. A memory fragment triggered as Zumanguri turned his head to look at the grey white pipe and the metallic gilded lamp on the wall right beside the study desk. This was the most common gas lamp of the times. Its flames were stable and its illumination capabilities were excellent. With Klein's family situation, even a kerosene lamp was a dream, much less a gas lamp. Using candles was most apt for their standing, and stature. However, back when he burned the midnight oil 4 years ago to be admitted into Co University, his elder brother Benson felt that it was an important matter which their family future depended upon. Therefore, he insisted on creating conducive studying conditions for client, even if it meant taking on debt. What a good older brother, I must say भाई. अपने छोटे भाई को पढ़ाने के लिए भाई कर्जा लेके पढ़ा रहा है भाई. Hats off. Of course, Manson, who was illiterate and had worked for several years, was not a rash person who did not think of the consequences. He had quite some tricks up his sleeves. He reasoned with the landlord to raise the apartment standards by installing gas pipes to improve the likelihood of rentals in the future. Landlord was convinced and provided the money to complete the basic modifications. Then, using the convenience of working at an import and export company, he purchased a brand new gas lamp, which was nearly at cost price. In the end, all he needed was to use his savings and did not need to borrow money. After the memory fragment flashed past his mind, Zumunguri came to the desk where he turned the pipe's valve and began twisting the gas lamp switch. Very smart भाई. बेंसन तो भाई एकदम वैसा वाला रोना निकले, बिजनेस माइंडेड जो कहते हैं ना, उसको पैसे का जुगाड़ यूं कर लिया उसने भाई. अच्छा है भाई, डेथ पे मतलब कर्जे में जाना इतना अच्छी बात नहीं भाई. अवॉइड इट एट ऑल कॉस्ट. With the sputtered sound, a spark sounded from friction. Light did not descend upon Zumunguri as he had expected. He twisted the switch a few more times, but all the gas lamp did was sputter and remain dark. Retracing his hand, pressing on his left temple, right, left temple. ये मच्छर भाई, मेरे घर में मच्छर बहुत है. Okay. Retracing his hand and pressing on his left temple, Zumunguri sought for the reason by rummaging through his memory fragments. A few seconds later, he turned around and walked towards the door. He arrived at a machine installed which was similarly inserted into the wall and had grayish-white pipes connected to it. This was a gas meter. After seeing the exposed gears and bearings, Zumunguri took out a coin and from his trousers pocket. It was dark yellow in color and had a bronze shimmer to it. The front of the सॉरी भाई. मैं देन अगेन, अगर आपको सिचुएशन नहीं पता, लाइफ में मैंने एक्सप्लेन की थी कि मैं रात भर सोया नहीं हूँ. एंड इट्स लाइक 6 AM. थोड़ी सी उबासियाँ आ रही हैं, बट वील फाइट थ्रू इट. कहाँ थे हम भाई, हो गए फिर से. Oh yes, it was dark yellow in color and had a bronze shimmer to it. The front of the coin was engraved with a portrait of a crown-wearing man, and there was one on a clump of wheat on the back. Zumunguri knew that this was the most basic currency of the Leon Kingdom. It was called a copper penny. 1 penny purchasing power was roughly 3 to 4 yuan before his transmigration. Such coins had other denominations such as the 5 pence, a half pence, and a quarter pence. Despite the 3 types, the denominations were not in small enough units. In everyday life, one had to buy several different things just to spend a single coin from time to time. So, according to this, a copper penny is roughly 3 to 4 yuan. So, अगर हम convert करके देखें, it's like 50 to 55 rupees. My God, भाई ये तो बहुत ज़्यादा है यार. 4 yuan or 4 Chinese yuan is equal to approx 55 rupees. बाप रे. बहुत ज़्यादा है। तो एक कॉइन की प्राइस बहुत ज़्यादा, 50 रुपये में तो बहुत, मतलब आज के डेट में तो इतना कुछ खास इम्पैक्टफुल नहीं आ सकता, बट इफ़ यू आर वेरी क्रिएटिव यू कैन गेट बाय with 1 day's worth of food in 3 to 4, yeah, max to max 6 coins. After flipping the coin, which was only minted and circulated after King George III descended the throne a few times, Zomunguri inserted it into the gas meter's thin vertical mouth. Click clank. After the penny fell to the bottom of the meter, the sound of grinding gears sounded immediately, producing a short but melodious mechanical rhythm. So McGree stared at the meter for a few seconds before returning to the Burnley wood desk. He then मैं खो गया भाई. He then reached out to twist the gas lamp switch. A After some sputtering, there was a sharp sound. A fire plume ignited and rapidly grew. Bright light first occupied the internals of the wall lamp before penetrating the transparent glass, blanketing the room with a warm glow. The darkness quickly reached as the crimson retreated out the window. Zumunguri felt at ease for a baffling reason as he quickly came to front of the dressing room mirror. This time he seriously inserted his temple and did not miss a single detail. Inspected his temple and did not miss a single detail. After a few rounds of inspection, he realized that apart from the original blood stain, liquid was no longer flowing out of the Gotske, I don't know how to pronounce, wound. It appeared like it had received the best hemostasis and bandaging. As for the slowly shimmering grayish white brain and the discernible growth of flesh and blood around the wound, it meant that the wound might take 30 to 40 minutes or maybe even 2 to 3 hours before it would only leave a light scar. The restorative effects that transmigration brings. Zuminguri curled up the right corner of his mouth as he muttered silently. Following that, he let out a low sigh, regardless he was still alive. After settling his mind, he pulled open a drawer and took out a tiny piece of soap. He took one of the old sorry. He took one of the old and tattered towels hanging by the side of the cupboard and opened the door. He then walked to the public bathroom, which was shared by the tenants on the second floor. Yes, I should clean up the blood stains on my head, or I will keep looking like a crime scene. It's fine scaring myself, but if I were to scare my sister Melissa when she gets up early in the morning tomorrow, it would be quite problematic. The corridor outside was pitch black. Silhouettes were barely accentuated by the crimson moonlight from the window at the end of the corridor. They looked like a pair of monster eyes that silently observed the living late into the night. Zuminguri lingered his footsteps as he walked towards the communal bathroom with a stuttering fear. When he entered, there was even more moonlight, allowing him to see everything clearly. Zumunguri stood in front of a wash basin and turned the tap's knob. Upon hearing the gushing sound of water, he suddenly recalled his landlord, Mr. Frankie. As water was included in the rent, his short and thin gentleman who wore a top hat, a vest, and a black suit always inspected the bathroom actively to take note of any sound of flowing water. If water was gushing too loudly, Mr. Frankie would ignore all of his gentlemanly traits by failing, frailing, flailing his walking stick and striking the bathroom's door. shouting things like "damn thief, wastage is a shameless matter. I will remember you. If I see this happen another time, scram along with your filthy luggage. Mark my words, this is the most value for money apartment in Tingan City. You will not find a more kindly landlord anywhere else." Putting away those thoughts, Jimungari used moist towel to clean the blood stains from his face again and again. After checking himself using the rundown mirror in the bathroom and verifying that all that was left was a hideous wound with a pale face, Jumunguri relaxed. Then he took off his linen shirt and used a bar of soap to wash away the blood stains. At that moment, he knitted his brows and recalled a possible problem. The wound was too exaggerated and there was too much blood apart from his body. His room likely still had signs of his injury. After Zimunguri was done with his linen shirt a few minutes later, he briskly returned to his apartment with the moist towel. He first wiped the blood handprints on the desk and then, using the gas lamp's illumination, he sought out spots which he missed out. He immediately discovered that quite a substantial amount of blood had splattered onto the floor beneath the desk, and there was a yellow bullet to the left side of the wall. Releasing a round with a revolver pointed at the temple, after mixing and matching the clues from before, Zimbabwe had a rough idea how Klein had died. He was in no hurry to verify his guess. Instead, he seriously wiped away the blood stains and cleaned up the scene. Following that, he took the bullet and returned to the side of his desk. He opened the revolver cylinder and poured out the rounds outside. A total of 5 rounds and a cartridge shell all had a brass luster to them. So जहाँ तक मैंने अभी रीड किया है भाई, it is not at all what one would expect. भाई, just imagine if you are transmigrated isekai into another world and the first thing you have to do is clean your own crime scene. Man, that's a lot of work. Bhai. I would rather give up. Bhai. I would rather give up. That's a lot of work. Wash your face, wash your clothes, clean your whole room of blood stains. That's a lot of work. Indeed, Zumunguri looked at the empty cartridge cell in front of him and stuffed the rounds back into the cylinder while nodding. He shifted his gaze to the left and it landed on the notebook's words, "Everyone will die, including me." Following that, even more question arose in him. Where did the gun come from? Was it suicide or a faked suicide? What kind of trouble could a history graduate from a humble origins get himself into? Why would such a suicide method only leave behind so little blood? Was it because I transmigrated in a timely manner and it came with healing benefits? After pondering for a moment, Zomunguri changed into another linen shirt. He sat on the chair and began pondering over more important matters. Klein's experience was still not something he needed to concern himself with. The true problem was to figure out the reason for his transmigration and if he could return. His parents, relatives, best buddies, and friends, the fascinating world of the internet, and all sorts of delicious delicacies. These were reasons that prompted his desire to return. Click, click, click. Ziomunguri's right hand was subconsciously pulling out the revolver cylinder and slamming it. His right hand was subconsciously pulling out the revolver cylinder and slamming it back into its place again and again. Yeah, there has not been much difference for me between this period of time and the past. I was just a little unlucky, but why would I transmigrate for no baffling reason? Bad luck. Yes, I tried a luck enchantment ritual before dinner today. A thought flashed in Zumunguri's mind, eliminating the memories which had concealed by a fog of confusion. As a qualified as a qualified keyboard politician, keyboard historian, and keyboard economist, keyboard biologist, and keyboard folklorist, he had always deemed himself as knowing something of everything. Of course, his best buddy would often mock him as only knowing a little of everything. And one of them was Chinese divination. When he visited his hometown last year, he had discovered a thread-bound book titled Quintessential Divination and Arcane Arts of the Qin and Han Dynasty at an old bookstore. It looked pretty interesting and could aid him in posturing on the internet, so he bought it. Unfortunately, his interest was short lived. The vertical script it used made the reading experience horrible. All he did was flip through the beginning pages before he threw it in the corner. He had experienced a spate of bad luck in the past month, losing his cell phone, customer running away after cheating him, and mistakes at work. Only then did he suddenly recall the luck enchantment ritual written at the beginning of the quintessential divination and arcade arts. Furthermore, the requirements were extremely simple, without any basic formation required. All he needed was to get 4 portions of the staple food in his area and place them in the 4 corners in his room. They could be placed on the furniture, such as tables and the cupboards. Then, standing in the middle of the room, he has to take 4 steps in a counterclockwise fashion to make a square. Sorry, guys. The first step required him to call sincerely. The first step required him to sincerely chant in the immortal Lord of heaven and earth for blessings. The second step was to silently chant the Sky Lord of heaven and earth for blessings. The third step was the exalted Thresh of heaven and earth for blessings, and the fourth step was the celestial worthy of heaven and earth for blessings. After the 4 steps were taken, he needed to close his eyes and wait 5 minutes in the original spot. Only then would the ritual be considered complete. Since it did not cost him any money, he found the book, followed what was stipulated, and did it before dinner. However, nothing happened back then. Who could have guessed that he would actually transmigrate in the middle of the night? Transmigration. There is a distinct possibility that is due to the luck enchantment ritual. Yes, I should give it a try here. Tomorrow, if it's really because of that, I stand a chance of transmigrating back. Assuming he stopped flicking the revolver cylinder and suddenly sat straight up. Regardless, he had to give it a try. He had to attempt a Hail Mary. Oof, it's quite a good episode, yeah, or a good chapter, I must say. I have noticed a few things, जैसे मैंने इससे एक और वेब नॉवल पढ़ी है जो है शैडो स्लेव. मैंने उसके अलावा कोई वेब नॉवल्स और नहीं पढ़ी हैं. दिस इज़ माई सेकंड वेब नॉवल, द लॉर्ड ऑफ द मिस्ट्रीज. एंड आई हैव नोटिस कि एक चीज़ शैडो स्लेव में ख़राब मुझे ये लगती है, नॉट सो नोटिसेबल बट स्टिल, कि इट लैक्स अ कंसिस्टेंसी. कभी कभार कुछ चैप्टर्स बहुत ही स्मॉल रहते हैं एंड बहुत मतलब ज़्यादा भी रहते हैं, बट स्मॉल चैप्टर्स रहते हैं. कभी कभार चैप्टर्स बहुत बड़े होते हैं. तो पर मैंने इसके सिर्फ 2 ही चैप्टर पढ़े पहले के, एंड दे आर ह्यूज चैप्टर्स. आई मीन मुझे 22-23 मिनट हो गए सिर्फ एक चैप्टर पढ़ने के लिए. एंड आई थिंक इट्स गुड because from what I know, the Lord of the Mysteries is a total of 1400 chapters, I think, and then is Koi Circle of Inevitability, and I don't know about that much, but I just know that Lord of the Mysteries end at 1400 chapters approx, and then COI begins. So I will read COI as well after I end Lord of the Mysteries, and I will try कि मैं दिन के 4 चैप्टर पढ़ पाऊँ, कोशिश करूँ 2 चैप्टर करके लाइव स्ट्रीम करके पढ़ पाऊँ. If my live stream issue is fixed, by इंटरनेट का इशू फिक्स होता है, then I will try that. वरना रिकॉर्डिंग करके तो डालूंगा ही मैं. And so चैप्टर 2 एंड्स हियर. सो ये वीडियो यहीं पे ख़त्म हो जाती है, ठीक है. एंड आई विल ट्राई कि मैं आज शाम तक दोबारा स्ट्रीम कर पाऊँ अपना इंटरनेट इशू फिक्स करके। इफ़ नॉट देन रिकॉर्ड करके दोबारा डाल देंगे। सो थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग दिस वीडियो, और लाइक और सब्सक्राइब कर देना अगर आपको ऐसी और वीडियोस देखनी है तो। एंड सी यू इन द नेक्स्ट वीडियो, टिल देन टाटा, गुड बाय।